Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Time Added On. My name is Alfredo Fumaças.
And I'm Cristiano Oliveira.
Every week, 5 topics, 2 minutes each, the hottest topics in Benfica land. We're here to discuss them and offer our opinion. First up, Seferovic. Seferovic has been a very, very important piece of this Benfica team, not only under Rui Vitória, which seemed to have recycled them, but also under Bruno Lage.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. I mean, this is a guy that's come in and scored crucial goals at the beginning of the season. If you guys go back to the preseason, he didn't play a single minute in Benfica's tour here in North America, and didn't play in Suiza. They didn't play anywhere else that they, took their talents to. And the guy's been absolutely lights out. He's been very important, scoring very crucial goals. And right now, Benfica would not be in the position that they're on the league table without a player like Seferovic.
Yeah, 41 games, 20 goals across all competitions. He has just scored his 18th goal in the Liga NOS. And he's actually a player that we got from Eintracht Frankfurt.
I did not know that. See, that's why we do these little shows here, because you get to learn something every single week. And I just learned that through our good friend here, Alfredo Fumaças. So we know it's going to be a very important couple of games here coming up in the Europa League for Seferovic against his former foes. The guy is, look, he has a lot to prove, not just to the Benfica world, but to the rest of the European football world. A lot of people doubted his talents when he came over from Benfica, from Frankfurt. I can't pronounce the last word. Sorry about it. I'll just stick with Frankfurt. And he's been scoring with a lot more regularity this year. He's also linked up really well with the youngster, João Felix, especially since Bruno Lage took over and became the new head coach after Rui Vitória was released. So I think, look, all things are looking up for Seferovic. I'm glad that he's back, and he scored a very important goal this week in the 84th minute that gave Benfica the very important 3 points at home against Tondela to keep Benfica number one in the league table.
Yeah, absolutely. And going from, as Cristiano mentioned, a guy that was discarded to fighting for a place for Jonas, and now you're thinking people don't even have Jonas on their radar because Seferovic has been so good and lights out.
Seferovic's been spectacular. Youngster João Felix, 10 goals in 19 games alongside Seferovic. So I think a lot of people are looking at the positives rather than the negatives. Alfredo, moving on to the next topic, we're going to talk about the much maligned Svilar, Miles Svilar, Benfica's backup goalkeeper, came in under much hype, got his first start in the Champions League against Manchester United. Has only played five cup games so far this season. We'll get to play another one tomorrow for Benfica against Sporting a Taça de Portugal. Played two appearances for Benfica in the B team. What are your thoughts on Svilar? What do you think has gone wrong, and what's going to go right in the future for a guy like this?
Youngest player ever to play in a Champions League match. All the hype about Svilar. He had a chance to compete with Varela, which was a player perhaps that he was at his level of skill. He has lost a lot of playing time to Vlaco Dimos, and I think right now what Svilar wants or needs perhaps is some rotation, some rotação. Elsewhere in the Portuguese league or somewhere in Europe that he could grab the starting minutes.
I think whomever made this decision to let him play on the B team, let him get some minutes, whether it was his father, whether it was someone in the Benfica hierarchy, or whether it was Bruno Lage himself, I think it was a very smart decision. A kid like Miles Svilar has all the potential in the world, but he's not going to get any better sitting on a bench. By playing is where he's going to get his kinks out the way, and he's going to get better with experience, and I think he's done that just now, I should say, with Benfica. And I hope that he does continue to play. I think he needs to keep playing. This is a guy, guys, as I mentioned before on the Benfica podcast, we have the privilege of talking on the Benfica podcast each and every week, and I mentioned it multiple times. I thought once Benfica made the decision to go to a Miles Svilar last year over Bruno Varela, I thought that it was one of those sink or swim type of situations, and I think they kind of burned his confidence, gave up that one pitu against Manchester United in the Champions League at home, then goes to Old Trafford, gives up a goal off the post, off the back of his head into the back, and I think a lot of that shook his confidence, and it took him a little while to get back to himself. But nonetheless, I'm just excited that he's getting to play and getting some minutes here on the B team, and I think it's very crucial for a player like him and other players in this situation. It's very crucial for their development.
Yeah, absolutely. Next topic, stadium culture, right? So it's been a big discussion among the Benfica fans of the culture that's found in the stadium. Unfortunately, we're not there every week to really get the first-hand feel on what the culture is. But from what we hear and the people that we talk to, and we have very close friends that attend Benfica matches every week, the stadium atmosphere needs to be a little stronger. They need to support the team. We had just this week, Grimaldo and Andrea Almeida. Grimaldo, who's been vocal about some of the support.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think when you're at a club like Benfica, you expect your fans to sit there from the first minute to the very last minute, to sing and scream their hearts out and support the team. And I think it's very disheartening to players to turn around and as soon as the whistle is blown, the stadium, the stands are half empty, and I think that's what happens here. And I think a guy like Grimaldo is going to voice his opinion. Doesn't have a problem voicing his opinion. And look, I myself, as a Benfiquista, I expect better. I think we're the type of club, we have enough supporters that could be there screaming their hearts out, supporting our team to the very last minute. It's Benfica, for Christ's sake. And these guys, if you bleed and you breathe Benfica like you say you are, like you say you do, and a lot of people portray that they do, you need to support the team through thick and thin, and the support needs to be a little bit better.
Yeah, you need to be heard. Also, this whole thing of look, it's a whole new generation, right? So a lot of folks that go to the games now probably don't remember the Terceiro Anel or the impact that Terceiro Anel had on the team or the influence they had. We're in a generation where you go to the stadium, you're taking selfies, you're fixing your hair, you're doing this, you're playing Candy Crush, anything but supporting the club. You also got the movement with the lights. What's that all about? Well, you're not in a concert. Cut the lights off.
I still don't know
support
what that's
the
about.
Team.
I still don't know.
So,
I wish anybody hit me up on Twitter, 10CO10. Let me know what that's about, because I'm still lost. I have no idea what that's about.
So people turn on their lights.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Thank you.
So same thing with the Seven Nation Army. Where do we go from Glorioso SLB to Seven Nation Army after the goals? Stop that. That's something that's done all throughout Europe. Let's do something that's unique, like the SLB Glorioso.
That's Alfredo's opinion, guys. Don't hold me to it. Moving on to the next topic, Alfredo, youngsters. We're going to talk about youngsters right now, youngsters mentality. You have a lot of jewels on this Benfica team. There's João Felix, Raul Florentino, Jotas, Ruben Diaz, and you have other guys that have left in years past. And the question here is the mentality of a youngster prior to making a big move to a bigger team from a bigger league, I should say, not a bigger team. I take that back, but to a bigger league across the Europe. What's the mentality of a youngster, Alfredo? What are the things that you think they should be looking into?
Yeah, look, there's plenty of research that you could do. You have to research about the team that you're going into. You have to look at the depth chart. You don't want to run into a situation like Renato Sanches, right? Renato Sanches went to Bayern Munich, and that center mid position was stacked with talent. So it was very hard for Renato Sanches to get a break into that starting 11. Now you're looking at guys like João Felix. You gotta do your research. It can't just be about the money that your agent is going to make. You gotta find the right fit. You gotta find the right culture. You gotta find a coach that's also going to take the best out of you.
Most importantly, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. Most importantly is a coach. You need to have a coach that's going to believe in you, a coach that's going to give you the opportunity to thrive in a different culture, different league, different competition. It's going to take you some time to adjust. But at the same time, I understand, the need of the players to go ahead and make themselves some money. The dollar sign. They have a 10 to 12 year window that they're going to have an opportunity to make money. And this type of money is life-changing money. So I understand the players wanting to make the switch. But, again, you hit it all on top. They need to make sure the club they're going to go to is going to give them an opportunity. They need to make sure a coach is going to give them an opportunity to grow and develop these players to the level that they're all expected to be. Then, on the other hand, as a Benfiquista, you want the players to stay a little bit longer. You're hoping that João Felix will sign a big deal with a big club, but then maybe the club leaves them at Benfica another year to develop, which I think right now would not be the worst thing to happen to João Felix. But if you're paying $100 million for something, you want that new toy right now. You don't want to wait another 12 months to get your hands on that new toy. So it's a very difficult situation, but players definitely need to study and do their research prior to making a switch.
Yeah, you definitely want to do that because look at, and I hate to bring up Renato Sanches, but he's a classic example. He has basically wasted 2 years of his developing career by being at Bayern. Yes, he might have a fancy car, he might have fancy clothes, and he might have all the bling, but that playing time is detrimental for a player's confidence.
Especially at that young age.
Absolutely. Last topic, Lage versus Mourinho. And the comparison didn't take too long. And, every young Portuguese coach that comes up, there's always the comparison against Mourinho, and Lage is no different. He was featured in an article of World Soccer. But Cristiano, do you think it's fair for coaches to get compared against Mourinho?
It's nonsense. It's nonsense right now. I mean, they even just drop Mourinho's name and apply that type of pressure on a young coach who's trying to break in and assert himself and make a name for himself. I think it's unnecessary. But again, it's the new cycle, the media world that we live in today. Everyone's going to be compared to anything. It's just like the similar situation where you get João Felix, the next Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, the guys play nothing like each other. Yes, he's Portuguese and he's young. That's about the only thing they have in common. Aside from that, getting back to Lage, I think Lage has done tremendously well here at Benfica. I think he's come out of the starting gates sprinting and everything, with the exception of the hiccup in the Taça da Liga against Futebol Clube Porto. Everything else has been roses for him. But I think it's a little bit unnecessary right now. I think he still needs to win a couple of titles before we start comparing him to a young Mourinho. Mourinho did come out to a tremendous start coming from União Leiria, going to Porto, started winning. I think he had a year at a União Leiria to show the world and to show the Portuguese people what type of coach he was. They finished 5th in the league, I believe that season, which is the highest league position they've ever finished in. So Mourinho kind of had a little bit more time to show to the world what he had, and I think Bruno Lage deserves the same luxury.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a guy that's trying to come into his own personality. He's got his own style, and the last thing you want is the comparison. We all remember the AVB comparisons. Where's AVB right now?
He's driving Dakar. He's driving one of the car series. Yeah, he's in one of those camel races,
so
whatever
much,
it is.
Yeah, so much for the comparisons. Look,
the guy won European Europa League trophy. Look, I don't want to knock AVB. I think AVB, though, if he wants to come back, I still do think he has a market, to be brutally honest with you.
Absolutely. That's all we got for you this week. Thanks a lot for checking us out. Don't forget to check out BenficaIndependente.com. That's where you can find this. Also, we're on Twitter at TimeAO19 is where you can find us on Twitter. YouTube channel, Benfica Independente YouTube channel is where you can find us. That's all.
Subscribe.
Hit the bell for notifications. And that's all we got for you this week. We'll be back next week. Thanks a lot for checking us out. Take care, everyone.
Take care.